Carter's Road Safety, resumption of the interrupted debate.
I call the member for Miranda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As I mentioned the other week, by way of background, Carter's Road is a local road managed by Central Coast Council and is one lane in each direction and intersects with the Pacific Highway at Lake Munmora. Carter's Road, Elizabeth Bay Drive Pacific Highway intersection is controlled by traffic lights, and there is a pedestrian footbridge provided over the Pacific Highway. The schools have their own drop-off and pick-up areas internally around this area, including areas for buses with restrictions on Carter's Road parking. Transport for New South Wales is responsible for the operation of the traffic lights, lane configuration and pedestrian safety at the Pacific Highway, Carter's Road intersection, including the school zone signs and pavement patches, and also the approval of the speed zoning. Speaker, providing a safe environment for students adjacent to school premises is paramount. 40km/h school zones are in force on all days, which are not a weekend, a public holiday or a publicly notified school day for government schools. This lower speed limit reduces the risk and potential severity of a crash. The New South Wales Government has a strong focus on improving the visibility of 40km/h school zones and children's pedestrian crossings to protect children around schools. A school zone safety campaign runs at the start and end of each school term to remind drivers when school zones are in operation and to obey the 40km/h speed limit. Additionally, the bus flashing lights campaign warns motorists that they must not overtake or pass a bus with flashing lights at more than 40km/h, as children are most at risk in the minutes after they get off the bus. Over $5 million of new safety infrastructure has been rolled out via 140 projects around New South Wales schools, including raised crossings, curb extensions, pedestrian refuges, new fencing, footpath improvements, new signs and splitter islands at roundabouts. Transport for New South Wales is responsible for the management and safety of the school crossing supervisors who work on the pedestrian crossings across Carter's Road closest to the Pacific Highway. The School Crossing Supervisor Program currently funds up to 1,200 supervisors at around 800 crossings across the state. In January 2019, the New South Wales government announced an $18.5 million commitment to provide 300 additional school crossing supervisors over the next 4 years. Mr. Speaker, I am advised that there are non-standard school zone times to cater for all school start and finish times for the schools on Carter's Road. These times are between 7:30 and 9:30 and 2 and 4 p.m. School crossing supervisors work at the school crossing on Carter's Road on gazetted school days between 8 a.m. and 9:15 a.m. and 2:20 p.m. to 3:20 p.m. to assist primary students to safely cross the road. The school crossing supervisors are conscious of marshalling students before stopping traffic to safely cross students and minimise traffic disruption. The school crossing supervisors assist students to cross Carter's Road when the traffic lights are green on the Pacific Highway. Mr. Speaker, education is a key component of the New South Wales Government's approach to road safety. Transport for New South Wales maintains a range of road safety partnerships with stakeholders and community groups to help deliver safety messages at a community level. Mr. Speaker, the New South Wales Government, via the Community Road Safety Fund, funds the Road Safety Education Program. The Community Road Safety Fund invests about $5 million a year in the early childhood and school education sectors. The program provides road safety education consultancy support for teachers in more than 3,000 primary and secondary schools and more than 3,500 early childhood services across New South Wales. From education programs in schools and preschools through to road safety advertising campaigns, education has been proven to play a role in changing behaviour to reduce trauma on our roads. I understand that during the school drop-off and pick-up times, Carter's Road is heavily congested. Ausgrid is also located on the corner of the Pacific Highway and Carter's Road and also has a public car park that is available to parents to drop off and pick up their children. There is also a U-turn bay at the end of the precinct to assist motorists to turn around to exit Carter's Road. Mr. Speaker, I take this opportunity to advise the House that the changes to the layout and the operation of Carter's Road are a matter for Central Coast Council, as the opposition should be aware. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the government, I oppose the motion.
I thank the Member for Miranda, considering the motions of the day, or general business motions of the day, I call the member for Gosford.
Thank you, Mr Temporary Speaker. I'd like to thank the member for Swansea for bringing this important matter to the chamber today. I know it's one the New South Wales Government keeps wiping their hands off and pushing back to Central Coast Council, like so many other issues they would rather ignore than actually fix. What the Liberal Government is ignoring in this matter is the safety of our kids. Let that sink in. Instead of coming to the table and working with the council and community to solve the problem, they're quite willing to plonk 4 schools on a 150-metre stretch of road, then walk away. Carter's Lane is a 2-lane, dead-end road that is the only feeder road for every parent from Lake Macquarie High School, Lake Memorial Public School, St Bridget's Catholic College and St Brendan's Catholic Primary School and a preschool to drop their kids off. They have to contend with each other, with buses, with kids riding bikes and with busy 4-lane Pacific Highway at the end of the street. What should be an unassuming local street is actually chaos. It can take 15 to 20 minutes just to turn out of the street in the afternoon. Schools up there even had to stagger their start and finish times to try and fix some of the congestion, which can be a nightmare for parents with kids at multiple schools who have to make extra runs or leave kids waiting at schools longer. So bad is Carter's Road, Mr Temporary Speaker, that it's in the top 5 worst roads on the Central Coast by the NRMA. The government needs to stop passing the buck and stump up the funds to fix this serious congestion and safety problem on Carter's Road. The New South Wales Government didn't do the work they should have when they approved 4 schools in the first place, and now they're leaving the Central Coast Council to pick up the pieces on their own dollar. These schools will also see their population swelling in the near future as new suburbs pop up all over the northern end of the coast, and the problem is only going to get worse. Mr Temporary Speaker, the member for Swansea has had a few wins on this road, with northbound turning lane on the Pacific Highway extended, but this needs a long-term solution, including a second access point to the road to stop the dead-end bottleneck. I'd like to commend the work of Councillor Gillian Hogan for being a fighter for this cause since her election to Central Coast Council. Councillor Hogan moved her own notice of motion at Council, which will finally see Council review traffic issues and starting works that could include intersections, parking and signage changes. They can't and they shouldn't be doing it alone. The New South Wales Liberal Government needs to come to the table for our community on the coast. I know that Councillor Hogan and the member for Swansea stand side by side with the community in demanding a safer and more sensible option for students and parents who rely on Carter's Road every single day. I call on additional state government investment to support the people of the Central Coast.
Yeah. I thank the member for Gosford. The question is that we take note of the notices of motion. I call the member for Hawkesbury.
Thank you, Mr Assistant Speaker. Mr Speaker, I'm advised that Carter's Road is a local road managed by the Central Coast Council. I appreciate during the school peak periods congestion is experienced on Carter's Road, which has a flow-on effect to the Pacific Highway as people try to get to and from the schools to Carter's Road. It should be noted that the consent authority for the development of the 4 schools in Carter's Road, a no-through road, would have been the then Wyong Shire Council. Now, I understand this because I've been on council for 11 years, so I understand the regime of approvals. I understand there have been suggestions to extend Carter's Road to connect to the Tall Timbers Road. Construction of the paper road would help to reduce the congestion. The development, that's glad we agree on that. The development and construction of the road is a matter for the Central Coast Council to consider and fund, as it would be part of the local road network managed by council. If Central Coast Council considers construction of the link road to reduce congestion and improve safety is warranted, it could consider applying for funding through federal and state government programs. I'm advised over the years Transport for New South Wales has been involved in meetings with the schools and council and provided advice and help resolve the issues in Carter's Road near the schools. That was in August 2015 and in November 2017. Teachers from Lake Memorial Public School attended road safety education workshops in 2016 and 2017, and teachers from Lake Memorial High School attended road safety education workshops in 2017 and 2019 as well. The Good Start Early...
Order, member for Gosford.
Thank you, Mr Assistant Speaker. The Good Start...
Order.
The Good Start Early Learning Lake Marmora attended a Road Safety Education Week workshop in 2014, and St Brendan's Early Learning Centre attended a workshop in 2017. Teachers from St Brendan's and St Bridges have participated in road safety education workshops in 2014 and 2018. Transport for New South Wales has completed improvements in the vicinity of the intersection in late 2015, including extending the right and the left turning lanes on the western side of the Pacific Highway and Carters Road intersections, along with adjustments to the line markings. The traffic signals at the intersection have also been optimised as much as possible to assist the local traffic during the school time zones. Mr Speaker, the government does not support this motion.
Speaker.
I thank the member for Hawkesbury. I call the member for Wyong.
Thank you, Mr Assistant Speaker, and I rise to support this motion by the member for Swansea, who has been a fierce advocate to try and get government funding to try and alleviate the problems at Carters Road. Mr Assistant Speaker, sometimes in this place we have to face the fact that in the past there were dumb planning decisions, and it's up to the current parliament and people who are here now and the government in power to try and fix these past problems. Now, I have a bit of a vested interest. My wife teaches at Lake Marmora Public School, so I know exactly the issues there because she's been there teaching at the school, and she's currently assistant principal for 20 years. So she's seen how this has all come about. So we have Lake Marmora Public School with 432 students, St Brendan's Catholic Primary School with 490 students. Lake Marmora High School has in excess of 1,200 students, and St Bridget's, the new Catholic High School, which only opened in 2014. I think they were in power then, but anyway. They have quite a large growing population now. I think this year is the first year they've gone to year 12, so they've been transitioning kids through. But this is a huge, it's not just a traffic problem, it's a safety problem. So in 2013, there was a massive bushfire that started in Rutledge Road and moved along that corridor all the way to Catherine Hill Bay. Now, in that situation, you had all of those children. The fire actually started, and I remember I was at Budgie Boy, which is just up the road, and I could see the smoke from the fire in the distance, and I knew that it was in the vicinity of where all the schools were. And so my first thing was to call my wife and asked if they'd been able to get out, because it was just on home time. So you can imagine all of those cars, all those traffic, all those kids, buses, everything else, with one way in and out of that particular roadway, with a bushfire coming towards them. So this is a safety issue. So it's all right to sit and blame the council and everybody else in the past, but what the government needs to do now is work with the member for Swansea, work with the current Central Coast Council, and actually come up with a solution. That's the solution here. It's not rocket science, because it would have been absolutely terrible to be standing here and talking about a disaster that happened because there was a traffic chaos at a time when a bushfire was actually roaring through that area. That was one of the fiercest bushfires that have ever hit the Central Coast. In fact, one of the firefighters who was involved with that was so traumatised that he now suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder because their fire appliance got caught on the Pacific Highway up near Catherine Hill Bay and were trapped. Luckily, nobody was injured, but just being there in that situation. So this is the fire we're talking about. So we need a solution here. We don't need back and forth arguments about it. There needs to be funding made available to the council, even on a 50-50 basis, to get this other road done. Because I don't want to be standing here at any time talking about people have lost their lives because we couldn't work out whose responsibility it was. That's just not right. That's just not right. They have put in grants for the past and they have not been successful. So understand, they have asked for money, and they haven't been able to get it. So the council is looking for a solution, but they need help. They need help. These guys merged the two councils together in the first place, and since they've done that, all they've done is beaten up the council. They don't want to actually talk and work with them. All they want to do is throw bombs at them all the time. So let's get on board, let's get it fixed and actually look after the kids at those schools.
Speaker, I seek leave to make a short contribution.
I thank the member for Wyong. I think the member has jumped you, member for Mile Lake, so I'd be sitting down.
Look, thanks, thanks, Speaker. And I want to make a short contribution.
Speaker,
And
if I may,
oh,
you haven't actually called at that point in time for a speaker.
I think
He jumped. You hadn't actually asked for a member to seek the call.
I think I've got up pretty well. Thanks, Speaker.
I'll
Speaker,
I'll give you the call because it's, you know,
look, Speaker, I do
move on with the day.
appreciate your management of the House. Speaker, I just want to thank the member for Swansea for bringing this on, one of my Central Coast colleagues. I want to thank all of my Central Coast colleagues who are here today. We do really try and work together for our community up there. And I know the member for Swansea's been a strong advocate around this issue at Carter's Road. And I just want to address the comments made by the member for Miranda, which really go to the nub of the argument coming from the government, and that is that they are somehow not responsible at all for this. Well, you know, what a lot of nonsense. We are the state government. We are paramount in this state over our local councils. We in the state government regulate the planning system that local councils operate under. And when we go and build schools in local communities, we should be doing our planning properly. And it is the case. There's 2 public schools in Carter's Road, as well as 2 private schools and a preschool. That creates planning issues, and it's not good enough to set up a system, and this is what is a significant problem now in this state. You've got public servants working in silos, you've got narrow accountabilities, and what it results in is this sort of dumb decision where you've got the people responsibility for the Pacific Highway, which intersects Carter's Road, saying, well, we're not responsible for anything to do with the roads that we intersect. And you've got the public school authority setting up schools but not having any regard whatsoever to the consequences for traffic management in the area. It's just dumb, and that's why people have this real frustration with government that doesn't need to be there. Government can solve people's problems, and as a socialist, I think government is well placed to solve the community's problems and make the community a better place for all of us. And Carter's Road's a great example of where we're doing it wrong. And it reminds me of the issues I've had around Tuggerah Public School in my electorate. It's the same sort of thing. It's a local school where the Department of Education says access to the school, parking around the school, traffic around the school, not our problem anymore. The school has worked very closely with council to try and improve that there. The state government advised the council to apply for Transport Access Program monies to improve pedestrian access to the school. A number of applications knocked back. So council then had to step in to improve footpaths around the area to address the access problem to Tuggerah Public School because the state government refused to assist in any way whatsoever. And it's a really dumb way to operate on the Central Coast. And we're not just saying it to have a go at you guys. It's an easy kick. You should listen occasionally, because maybe some people would start voting Liberal on the Central Coast if you did listen to our criticism occasionally. But I guess it's in our interest to have you sit there, bring up meaningless points of order, continue to do your writing instead of paying attention to the business of the House. You should start listening. Stop trotting out the member for Terrigal. Oh my God, as the apologist for the government on the Central Coast and the guy that doesn't want to work with our local council. I mean, you know, how dumb is that? We got the 3rd biggest council in the state. The state government refuses to work with them constructively. The Premier comes to the Central Coast and bags them. It's dumb. Support the resolution.
I thank the member for the entrance.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to speak on the motion. Seek leave.
Member for Mile Lake seeking leave for a contribution. Leave granted.
Mr. Speaker, I'll address some of the points that have been raised by the other side. I'm advised that the New South Wales Government has implemented a safety system within New South Wales school zones, where a 40km/h speed limit and high visibility safety treatments like signage, road markings and flashing lights are in place. These treatments are in place on Carter's Road, along with raised pedestrian and children's crossings, extended school zone hours and a pedestrian overbridge on the nearby Pacific Highway. Higher fines and demerit points also apply, and school zones are now one of the safest areas of the road network. New South Wales has not lost a child pedestrian active school zone since 2013. The New South Wales Government has ensured that every school in New South Wales has at least one set of school zone flashing lights. The Government also has a strong focus on improving the visibility of 40km/h school zones and children's pedestrian crossings to protect children around schools. More than 6,000 school zone flashing lights are in place across New South Wales to warn motorists when they are about to enter a 40km school zone. This lower speed limit reduces the risk and potential severity of a crash. School zone signs, dragon's teeth road markings and flashing lights improve the visibility of school zones. School zones are in force on all days which are not a weekend, a public holiday or a publicly notified school holiday for government schools. The New South Wales Government has also installed additional school zone flashing lights in more than 500 schools across New South Wales, with multiple busy entrances to further protect children travelling to and from school. Transport for New South Wales met with representatives from the schools in question and Central Coast Council and provided advice to help resolve the issues on Carters Road near the schools on a number of occasions over the years. Transport for New South Wales has completed improvements in the vicinity of the intersection to try and help ease congestion and improve safety on Carters Road. This included extending the right and left turn lanes on the west side of the Pacific Highway and Carters Road intersection, along with adjustments to the line markings. In 2015, Transport for New South Wales changed the lane allocations on the Carters Road approach to the traffic lights. At the lights, there was a left turn lane and a shared right turn and through lane. It was changed to a shared right turn and through lane and a shared left turn and through lane. The merge on the departure on Elizabeth Bay Drive was adjusted to make it a zip merge, where the vehicle ahead has right-of-way in merging regardless of which lane it is in. These changes allowed more vehicles to pass through the intersection on Carters Road approach in each traffic signal cycle. The traffic lights at the intersection have also been optimised as much as possible to assist the traffic during school zone times. Preventing right turn movements in Carters Road would have some traffic efficiency benefits. However, as this is a council road, this is a matter for council to consider. I understand road safety officers from Central Coast Council have worked with the schools on road safety education. Initiatives include road safety flyers for inclusion in newsletters sent at the beginning of each school term. Midway through the first term, a bus travel insert is sent to all schools that encourages bus usage, which reduces congestion around schools. Kindy orientation presentation on road safety. Newspaper advertisements at the beginning of the term and throughout the year includes information on parking around schools and relevant fines. Of course, the development and construction of the road is a matter for the Central Coast Council to consider and fund, as it would be part of the local road network owned and maintained by council. If Central Coast Council considers construction of the link road to reduce congestion and improve safety is warranted, it could consider applying for funding through federal government and state government programs or a special rate levy like other councils do for their local road network.
I thank the member for Mile Lakes. The question is this motion be agreed to. I call the member for Swansea.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. Firstly, can I thank the member for Miranda, Gosford, Hawkesbury, Wyong, the Entrance and Mile Lakes for contributing to this debate. I would particularly like to thank my colleagues on the Central Coast and thank you for your support of our community in the northern end of the Central Coast. They will very much appreciate your ongoing support. It is my job, Mr Speaker, to represent the views of the community in the electorate that I represent. And in turn, and this really goes to what the message from the member for the Entrance, in turn, any good government should take those views on board and respond to them accordingly. What we've had from this government, Mr Speaker, is almost 5 years of stonewalling, essentially washing their hands of the significant chaos that affects the everyday lives of ordinary people in Lake Munmora. Residents, workers, students, parents, grandparents and carers. The most recent response that I received from the Parliamentary Secretary for Regional Roads and Infrastructure, who is currently in the House, and I'm very pleased that she is, read as follows, which incidentally was also
regurgitated by the member for Hawkesbury. Thank you for your correspondence to the Minister for Roads and funding for safety upgrades to Carters Road. I appreciate your concerns. However, the development and construction of the paper road is a matter for Central Coast Council to consider and fund, as it would be part of the local road network. Well, Mr Speaker, my community is tired. Not just tired, they are bloody exhausted from the amount of buck passing that has been going on for at least half a decade over this issue. The safety of students and motorists travelling to Carters Road is not something that continue to be ignored, with the minister simply saying, "Not my problem." I welcome the interjection from the member for Hawkesbury, because you actually amalgamated our council and put it further down the list of work, so thanks for that. They want action, my community. They have waited long enough. In 2014, the former Wyong Shire Council listed Carters Road as 2 of their top 10 priorities for the local government area, calling on the then government to stump up the cash and to help fund it. It is only a matter of time before there is a significant accident and someone is hurt on Carters Road. So I say to the member for Myer Lakes, all the statistics in the world, you will have seen nothing like this particular road. The intersection on the Pacific Highway and Carters Road is an accident waiting to happen. It's dangerous, and it beggars belief that the minister has done absolutely nothing to address it thus far. The fact that Carters Road is a local road should not be a matter of concern, for the reasons I outlined earlier. But also because there are thousands of local government projects right around this state that have received state government funding, and not on the basis that they're dangerous. Quite frankly, the safety of the community should be above arbitrary divisions in government responsibility, which we've seen from this government have simply been used as a reason to just do nothing. I say now, cost shifting, I just hear from the member for Hawkesbury. Yes, it's cost shifting from you to the poor ratepayers of council. Thanks for your interjection. What I say to this House is, get your act together, fix the mess and support this motion.
The question is, this motion be agreed to? All those in favour say aye. Aye. Against say no. No. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The noes have it. A division has been called.
Yeah, but it was on the detail.
Lock the doors. Tell us for the ayes, member for Shell Harbour, member for the entrance. Tell us for the noes, member for Terrible, and member for Cootamundra. Thank you, members. Result of the division is 41 ayes and 44 noes. It's resolved in the negative. Thank you, members. Please leave quickly and quietly.